2021. We had committee meetings, but this is the first council meeting, city council meeting, and I'd like to welcome, we have a number of people tonight to welcome. We'll start out with welcome my fellow councillors. Everybody knows all of the councillors, their name tags are here. But we also have our Director of Fire Services, Ron Enman. We have our CAO, Rob Philpott. And around the corner we have Kristen Dunsford, our Director of Finance. And who am I missing in the city staff? I think that's all. We have our friends from CBC Television. Welcome, Mr. Thibodeau and your staff. And Colin McLean, they're all faithful from the Journal Pioneer. Welcome, great to have you here. And we have Brian Herlick running the controls here. And we want to welcome all of our friends watching on YouTube tonight, and as well as a number of other media members will be watching on YouTube. And also a very special welcome. I mentioned earlier it's a special evening and a special council meeting, but a special welcome to Sue Gallant. Welcome, Sue, and Volunteer of the Year. So we'll have a little ceremony there in a minute, but it's great to have you here and all of your friends. And also we want to welcome our MLAs, Mr. Howard. Welcome, Steve Howard, and Trish Altus here, welcome, and a number of other folks. I believe they're your fellow kinsmen and kinettes. And we have Laura Cannon will be called upon there shortly to do some reading. But so welcome everybody to this very special evening, and we're honored to have Sue tonight to recognize her for her, how many years have you been doing some great volunteering, and and it was a great choice, and so we look forward to getting through to that ceremony. I think I've gotten pretty well everybody in the list. If any council members see or hear as we go through the evening, if we miss something, just mention it. Okay, welcome to all. Now we just call the meeting to order. I think I got that one out of the way. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Councillor Snow and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. All in favour say aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Any conflicts of interest to be declared? I do not see any. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the monthly council meeting minutes of December 21, 2020? Moved by Councillor McDougall and seconded by Deputy Mayor McColman. Any questions in the minutes? All in favour say aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Okay, we'll move into a very interesting and special item on the agenda. And we'd call upon Laura Cannon to go to the podium there to read the citation for Sue Gallant.
The Volunteer of the Year Award is awarded to a city resident. I'm sorry, my glasses are fogging. Can I take it off, Barbie?
Sure.
It's hard to read with a mask on when you have glasses. The Volunteer of the Year Award is awarded to a City of Summerside resident who has made outstanding contributions to the life of the city through their extensive volunteer service. Please join me in congratulating Sue Gallant on this much-deserved award. Kinsmen, Kinnett, and Kin Club of Canada work to better their communities, enhance the well-being of Canadians, and improve their environment. Sue has been involved with Summerside Kinnetts for 22 years, and she has served as president of the club for the past 16 years. Correct me if I get this wrong, Sue. She is also the co-chair of the Kinsman Appeal, Christmas Appeal, which provides hampers of toys, clothing, and food for between 200 and 225 families and seniors over the holidays. It is well known that Sue always finds time and energy to help in the community. It was noted that after the names of the hampers have been chosen and the donation money spent, Sue has such a big heart that she often personally purchases the items for the families in need. The nominating committee read, if I had to describe Sue, my first thought would be caring. She has the biggest heart of anyone I know. She is also very humble. She doesn't do what she does for the recognition. She does it for the pure joy of helping others. And I just want to say that I wrote that, and I really believe it, and I was also the one who nominated her. So on behalf of Mayor Stewart, City of Summerside Council, I am very pleased to present the 2020 Volunteer of the Year Award to Sue Gallant.
Thank you. Okay, if you would come forward, and as well, Laura, and I call upon our Councillor for Community Services and Personnel, Councillor Adams, will come forward and make the presentation. And Laura, you. Make sure everybody's situated. I'll read this into the minutes. I'll read this into the minutes, Sarge, just before we do. No, you're fine. Volunteer of the Year presented to Sue Gallant in recognition of your outstanding volunteer commitment to Summerside from the Mayor and Council for 2020. This plaque will be in City Hall.
This looks nice. Just the yellow and Adams. Very well deserved.
You keep the plaque here.
Yeah. Let's do the find out. Oh. Like so thank you very much. Thank you.
This is your paper.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you have the floor if you want to say a few words.
I honestly don't know what to say. I'm very humbled. Laura, thank you very much. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't do things for recognition. I never did and I never will. I've got so much support, like my family, my friends, the kinsmen. I couldn't ask for two better fellows to work with than Ray and Eric through our deal. I'm just out there, like, I just want to do things for people. That's what I enjoy, and that's what my life's been. That's how I grew up. My parents, I followed my parents' footsteps. And this means so much to me, and I'm so honored that my family could be here with me tonight and my friends. Thank you very much to everybody.
Okay, we'll go around the floor here for council members that want to say a few words, but I've known Sue and her family for many years. I knew her dad, her mom, and I knew her brothers, Wayne and Boo, and all great people. And so, Susan, again, congratulations, and very deserving of the award. So we'll start with Deputy Mayor McColman. You'd like to say a few words. And then maybe our MLAs might want to say a couple of words if they have the opportunity.
Sue, I just want to congratulate you. I know that every one of us in this room feels that you are a very deserving person. And I think there's a lot of families that have really benefited over the years because of that caring spirit that you have, as well as with the kinsmen and kinettes. Also, I was reminded earlier that not only have you been involved in this area, but even over the years with youth involved in sporting events and coaching and things like that. So you certainly have given a lot. And I hope this is like that big card that we're all giving you, because I know that you like receiving cards, and we think an awful lot of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor McCollum. Councillor Brian McFeely, say a few words.
Thank you, Your Worship, and so just wanted to join other councillors in congratulating you and thanking you for your many, many hours. I know that I know you're not in it for recognition, but it's always nice to have your efforts appreciated and recognized, and that's what tonight is about. And we thank you for that. And just doing some quick math, I think the appeal was, what, 70 years old in 2019, so it's 71 years old, and it's a couple hundred families per year. That's 14,000 hampers. You were involved probably in, what, 25 or 30 years of those, so you were probably in the 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000 hamper range. So it's really quite phenomenal. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely. Councillor Adams, Chair of Human Resources and Culture and a couple other committees, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sue, congratulations. I was just thinking earlier that, you know, I follow you on social media, and whenever you had mentioned Eric and Ray, you are always, you know, saying what's going on, but you're always so thankful to everybody that's helping you. And I think that speaks volumes for the person you are and the work you do. And the world could use more of you, for sure. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was actually just about to say the world could use more Sues. But it's true. Congratulations. Certainly nobody more deserving right now than you, and it's remarkable just to think how many, literally how many thousands of people would have benefited from the work that you do. And I don't know what else to say. Just remarkable. Thank you so much for your service that you've done in Summerside, and wearing a Maple Leafs mask. That's icing on the cake right there. So congratulations, and thank you for doing what I'm sure you'll continue to do for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. We'll move along to this side. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Sue, even though you have that mask on, I'm a Canadiens fan. So, but I really want to congratulate you. Very well deserving. And congratulations to the selection committee. Awesome job. I know how hard you work in the service club for your kin Christmas appeal and all the things throughout the year. And I'm a lifetime member of the Lions Club, so I know the value of service clubs. And, you know, I have always said, where would any city or town be without service clubs, whether it's kin, Rotary, Lions, whatever. We're very fortunate to have people like Sue in our community. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Councillor Ramsey.
Well, thank you and welcome everybody, and congratulations, Sue. I don't know what the community would have done without the Kins Club for years and years and years. I come from really humble beginnings, and I know I experienced that gift and as a little girl, and I can't imagine what you've given over the years to the people that really need it. And you're awesome, and thank you, and it couldn't go to a better soul. My neighbor right down in the west end of Summerside. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you.
Councillor Campbell, the floor is yours, sir.
So much for the hearts and flowers. Sue used to volunteer as a coach in softball, and I used to be an umpire. And thank you for your very honest evaluation of my umpire.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Snow, I believe Sue is your constituent.
Sue is, I'm happy to claim her as a constituent for the time being anyway. She is moving, but I'll definitely miss her as one of my constituents. But like Barb just said, the work you do in this community is absolutely amazing. I'm an outreach worker. I work with youth and families every day, a lot of them experiencing financial need and help, and especially around Christmas time. My mom, I was a my mom's a single mom, so the work you do is absolutely amazing, and I'm very glad to see that you recognized here tonight. So thank you for everything you do deep down in my heart. I really mean that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Snow. Would our MLAs like to say a couple words? If you want to use the microphone, that way it'll be recorded.
Hi everyone, and I want to just say what a privilege it is to be here this evening to honor you, Sue, and the incredible work that you have done and that you continue to do for this community. I have such admiration and appreciation for anyone who dedicates their time and their energy to do what they can to make sure that everybody can live with basic health and dignity, and it sounds like you've done so much for so many families here in Summerside. Thank you, and I hope that we can one day, have a good conversation. I'd love to hear more about your work and your experiences here in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. How about MLA Mr. Howard?
Well, Sue, in this world where it's hard enough to find time to take care of yourself, it's amazing that you can find time to take care of so many others beyond yourself. So I just congratulate you for all of that extra energy that you're willing to pour out into others, because the world really needs a lot more of that. Others have said it, and that's really what it boils down to, is what you put out into the world comes back. So I think you've got a lot of good things coming.
Thank you, MLA. Okay, is there anybody in the audience want to say a couple of words? We've got a couple more minutes here, a little more time. If not, I'm not putting anybody in the spot, but the opportunity is there to congratulate Sue. Anyway, again, congratulations. We'll continue on with our council meeting. Yeah. You're welcome to stay for the council meeting if you want, or stay for a while, but it's up to yourselves. Yeah, okay. But anyway, we'll continue on then, but again, congratulations. Yeah, I guess they'd take the plaques out for some photos. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, well, under the next one was correspondence, and this time I'll just mention I had an awful lot of Christmas messages for the mayor and council and staff. So I'm not going to get into reading all of those, but we thank everybody for their messages, and certainly wish everybody a very happy New Year. We'll continue on. Deputy Mayor, how you have the financial services report and the resolution, I believe.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do. I just want to acknowledge that the finance report has been prepared by Director Kristen Dunsford. I'd like to say good evening to my colleagues and MLAs that are in the gallery, as well as our media. Thank you very much for being here, and also to our residents with the City of Summerside, or in the City of Summerside. The preparation of our 2021-22 capital and operating budgets is well underway, and Council will begin their deliberations in early February. We expect to present this budget to our residents in early March 2021. Our latest projection for our current fiscal year is reporting a surplus of $87,180. And to members of council, this breakdown of this information is in your packets from our Finance Committee meeting. That just gives you the breakdown of the revenue and expenses. We continue to meet with the individual departments to determine the impact of the pandemic, which it's having and may continue to have on our operations. A resolution is being presented this evening to approve our long-term financing, which I'll read very shortly. This is our annual borrowing of a capital expenditure relating to the previous fiscal year. The long-term financing for the 2019-2020 budget capital expenditures is $3,625,300. The more significant expenditures relate to the renovation of the electric service building and water sewer reconstruction. With this borrowing, the city is still within allowable debt limits as legislated by the province of Prince Edward Island through the Municipal Government Act. We are still encouraging customers who have outstanding utility balances and have not requested a payment arrangement to contact Financial Services at 902-432-1230. Collection notices are being mailed out and customers are being reminded to address these notices as they are received. And now for an update on the status of our utility accounts receivable. As of January the 15th, 2021, the following is being reported. Point number 1, total overdue balance is $157,700 compared to $146,500 at December 11th, 2020. Approximately 9.4% or $14,900 of the overdue balance is greater than 180 days old. This compares to 11.9% or, in dollar figures, $17,400 at December 11th, 2020. I'd like to thank the department for the opportunity to present this report, and either myself or Chief Financial Officer, Director Dunsford, will be available to take your questions. And as I close the report, I would like to just mention briefly the condolences to Michelle and Gallant Lapp and the entire Lapp family in the recent loss of her husband, Gordon. Both families, the Gallant family and the Lapp family, did live in my ward during past years, and Gordon certainly was involved in hospitality and the entertainment industry in many aspects of life here and in the Maritimes. So on behalf of Mayor and Council, we just want to extend our condolences. And that concludes my report, Your Worship. And if there's any questions.
Any questions for the Chair of Finance? I understand you have a resolution?
I do, Your Worship. Resolution COS 21-001. It was moved by myself, Norma McColman, seconded by Councillor Brian McFeely. Whereas the City of Summerside borrow from financial institutions to finance the cost of a portion of its capital expenditures from the previous fiscal year and or refinance existing loans that have come due. Be it resolved that Council authorizes long-term borrowing in the amount of $3,625,300 from TD Canada Trust for 2019-2020 capital expenditures as follows, and I will give a breakdown. The loan amount of $466,200. The purpose of the expenditure is loans for 2019-20 capital expenditures in the general fund of $466,200. It's a 10-year term loan. The amortization of the loan is 10 years, and the estimated rate of interest is indicative rate of 1.47%. The method of repayment is interest only until March 31st, 2021, beginning in April 2021, equal blended monthly principal and interest payments. The next loan amount is $3,159,100. This loan is for capital expenditures 2020 for electric, $1,969,800, water, $902,600, and sewer, $286,700. The term of the loan is 20 years. The banker's acceptance with interest rate swap all in fixed rate of 1.95%. It's a 20-year amortization for the loan. Estimated rate of interest is indicative rate 1.95%. the interest only until March 31st, 2021, beginning in April 2021, equal blended monthly principal and interest payments. As well, I would just like to remind our residents and anyone in the gallery that the City of Summerside is able to incur the indebtedness and liability as set out above. The loan total, $3,625,300, will not cause the City of Summerside to exceed its debt limit as set out in the Municipal Government Act, Part 3, Division 3, Section 164, Clause 3. The security required for this borrowing transaction is the appropriate borrowing resolution and related documentation. This bears the recommendation of the Finance Committee meeting of January 14th, 2021.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Coleman, seconded by Councillor McFeely. Any questions? I just have one. I'm just wondering, did we have a, sorry, did I jump ahead of you?
No,
there,
you go, no.
I thought that we had a surplus in the water and sewer. Maybe I'm...
That surplus would relate to the operating results?
Yes.
For the year. This is borrowing for the capital expenditures that were incurred in 2019, 2020.
And the surplus was...
Cannot recall off the top of my head.
okay.
87,100.
Yes, I thought, yeah. Okay. Councillor Snow.
I'm just, the first paragraph there where it says, portion of its capital expenditures from the previous fiscal year and or refinance existing loans. What portion was or was any of it from existing loans?
No, it's all for new borrowing.
It's all new. That's just what needs to be in that.
That is
okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Any other lights, question lights? I do not see any. All in favor say aye. Contrary nay? Carried. Do you have anything further?
No, that's everything you were
All for now? Okay, we'll continue on. Thank you very much. Councillor Duran, how you doing? You have
Doing great.
report and some resolutions.
Yes, Your Worship, thank you. I'll cover the report first, and then we'll get into the resolutions. There's 4 of them tonight. Thanks to Aaron McDonald, the Director of Technical Services, for preparing this report. We've closed out the 2020 construction season, but we still have a number of construction projects that will continue throughout this winter. Staff are working on the 2021 capital budget items while wrapping up the paperwork from this year's projects. Staff have also started designing our portion of the 2021 capital projects in order to have them ready for spring tenders and May construction starts. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments and building permits. A number of items are coming to public meetings in the next few weeks. A couple rezonings, a discretionary use, and a couple street closures. Our office is still encouraging people to continue to send in your information electronically, as they have been doing. And if you need to see someone, please call ahead for an appointment to ensure you are able to meet with someone. We will continue reviewing all information submitted and respond back to these submissions if any additional information may be required for their permits. We finished off the month of December with 5 building permits for a total of 370 permits for the year, for a total value of $42.5 million. The average number of permits issued per year would be around 210, so this is a substantial increase in activity from a typical year. This is the 4th time in 15 years that we have topped the $40 million per year, but typically those years would have had a major project to account for a good portion of the total. Our average would be around $27 million, so again, a substantial increase from a typical year. The total permit value and number of permits are one of our higher years, which has led to an extremely busy year when you consider the condensation with the COVID situation from earlier in the year. And there has been a significant increase in workload when you consider the COVID shutdown that happened in the industry, and special thanks goes out to Mike Straw. He never stopped reviewing and issuing and inspecting projects in a safe manner for himself and his customers, and he really kept the industry going here in Summerside. Several developers are still reaching out to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for 2021. Now is a great time to prepare for those projects you were thinking about for 2021, so we are encouraging our citizens to ask for assistance with their upcoming projects. Staff will continue to work with these developers and citizens to bring these developments to the permit stage. And thanks again to Director Aaron McDonald for submitting that report for this month.
Thank you. Any questions for the Chair of Tech Service? Councillor?
Not a question, a comment. One of the councillors, I forget which one it was inquiring about intersection in Walker and Granville. It took us most of the summer to gather and purchase a property we need to fix it, so that it's all budgeted for and ready to go first thing in the spring.
Yeah, it's budgeted for. I think it was budgeted for. We just ran out of time in the construction season, so it's still going ahead. And that's like the right turn from Walker north onto Granville Street. Yeah. And I do have some resolutions here concerning Pope and Central. If we're okay moving on to those, I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. I do not see any question lights, so the floor is yours, sir.
So, resolution COS 21-002, which was moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Corey Snow. Whereas owing to increased residential and commercial density at or near the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, Technical Services staff have advised Council that it is necessary and desirable that the City of Summerside should improve the vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection for the purpose of improving traffic flow and enhancing public safety. And whereas the lands currently held by the City of Summerside are insufficient to permit the necessary vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection. And whereas the City of Summerside has reached agreement with some but not all adjoining landowners respecting the purchase and sale of the lands required to build the said vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure. And whereas Section 188 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, authorizes Council to expropriate any land that it considers expedient for a public work or other public purpose. And whereas subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, requires that prior to expropriating any interest in land, Council shall pass a resolution giving notice of its intention to expropriate land. Be it resolved that pursuant to subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council for the City of Summerside give notice of its intention to expropriate lands within the City of Summerside as follows. A, the general description of the lands. The lands to be expropriated are described as follows. Part of PID 460204, all that parcel of land situate, lying and being at lot or township number 17 in Prince County, province of Prince Edward Island, as shown and delineated on the sketch entitled Central Street and Pope Road Intersection Redesign, being attached hereto as Schedule A, containing 112.8 square meters of land, a little more or less, and being the northern portion of the said lands, also known as PID 460204, as shown on the said sketch. B, nature of the interest intended to be expropriated. Council intends to expropriate the fee simple interest in the lands described herein, which includes all the interest in the land to which this resolution relates. C, public purpose for which the interest is required. Council requires the lands described herein to facilitate the building of a roundabout at the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, which roundabout is necessary and desirable in the interest of public safety and improved traffic flow. D, survey authorization. Pursuant to Section 190 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council hereby authorizes the Chief Administrative Officer or his designate to engage a land surveyor licensed under the Land Surveyors Act, RSPEI 1988, and the land surveyor and any person working under that person's authority shall be permitted to enter upon the lands described herein for the purpose of surveying the land and preparing a legal description of it. E, resolution to expropriate. Council shall vote on a resolution at its next regularly scheduled public meeting on February 16th, 2021, on the issue of whether to expropriate the lands described herein. And F, statement on expropriation. Should the above described resolution to expropriate receive the support of 2/3 of council members present, and after council serves on the owner a certified copy of the resolution passed, all the interest in the lands described herein shall be expropriated and become vested in the city of Summerside on the resignation and filing in the office of the Registrar of Deeds for Prince County of the said resolution to expropriate, the survey plan, and a legal description of the said lands. And there is a drawing attached to the resolution as well that just shows the area of that PID that will be going forward for expropriation, and that is COS 21-002.
Okay, that was moved by Councillor Drawn and seconded by Councillor Snow. Any questions on the resolution? I'm just wondering there, because when it comes back for the next vote, it says 2/3 of the votes. Now, under the Municipal Act, the mayor can only vote if there's a tie. So how many votes do you need? Is that 2/3 of the 8 or 2/3 of the 9, or what's the difference? I'm not really sure, but before it comes to our regular vote next couple of weeks.
It'll be for the February vote, it'll be 2/3 of the 9. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
And is that an even number, or we got a
2/3 of
half
9
a
is
vote?
6.
Yeah.
Six, yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So tonight, and just for clarification for tonight, all that is, I should say, quote, all that is required is a simple majority of council, so.
For tonight, yes, I understand that, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Oh, sorry, Councillor Snow.
I just think it's important as we move along on these resolutions that we realize this is a project that the City of Summerside and councils before us have been trying to complete for however many years, many years. And the solution here presented to council from engineers was probably the less intrusive in regards to moving houses, structures, and a whole lot of other issues that we might have gotten into otherwise looking at other designs. So I think it's a really proactive approach to get something done that the community's been asking for a long time. So.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell and then Councillor Dougal. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's also going to have an effect up in my ward too, where Beatty and I think Commercial Crest and them we have speeders because people are not going up the way they're supposed to go up. And we've been working on Granville for 3 summers, I guess, and just pushing all the traffic up on those streets of mine, creating as usual speeding problem, and it will really help there, take the pressure off the traffic.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will be supporting the resolution. This has been on the books a long time. You know, over past councils, we've got to certain points and then backed away from it. But with the new design that's come forward, we've accommodated a lot of stuff, and we're closer now than we've ever been to fixing the problem up there. And I think we need to move ahead. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Councillor Ramsey?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Stewart. And I guess for me, I'll be supporting it as well. And it is in my ward, and I've had many complaints regarding this intersection over the last couple of years. And I guess I just want to make something clear to the folks who are kind of watching this evening, that there is an opportunity for these sections of these properties to be bought by the city, and we're working very diligently on that, trying to get the residents to agree to the amount and that we've offered. And I just think that's important for folks in the community to know, that in any expropriation, that there's no businesses going to be affected, there's no homes going to be affected, there's just small portions of land from each lots that would have to be used by the city to get this very important project done. So I just feel that it's important for our residents to know how hard we've been working on this, and we'd like nothing more than to work together with folks and get this on its way. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe, well, that's the shadow of your lighted Councillor McPhillips. It's Councillor Deputy Mayor.
The comment that I wanted to echo, as well as Councillor Barb, is, and Councillor McDougall, that the project has been looked at for well over 10, 12 years, and each time it has come back, there's always been, a factor. And I think the advice that we've been given legally, as well as through the engineers that have worked on the drawings and all of the elevations and information, is that this is the least intrusive type of project that we've been able to come up with, that is very a major help to that area, as well as to try and buy the needed pieces of property for a fair market value. And every step of the way, we've tried to be very inclusive of everybody involved in the process.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor McPhillips.
I guess, I too will be supporting the project, and just, I guess, emphasize and reiterate what others have said, that, the city continues to make every effort to negotiate a fair and reasonable settlement with property owners. Others have said it's the least intrusive. And it's really, I know that it exists in borders on people's wards, but it really is a citywide initiative, because I know in Ward 7, my ward, several people on the doorsteps in the last election talked about that corner. So I'm pleased that this council has, been able to move it forward. I know others had made some steps forward as well. So I think it's just a good initiative, and hopefully we can get a negotiated settlement with all these property owners before the February meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McPhillips. Councillor Adams, you have a question, comment?
Just, Your Worship, just one quick, just to follow up on what others were saying. It's hopeful that a resolution can be reached for all before the February meeting, and that I think somebody said it's been 29 years that this has been looked at. So it's about time to finish it off, I guess. I know, following up on what Councillor Bryan said, it does affect everybody. It's not a main artery, but it is a main artery in our town. I go through several times a day myself, coming and going, so it will be nice to, and also it's not just, the thing that I liked about it was it's not just for the traveling public, it's also for the safety of the pedestrians. Yes. Because right now, like when you're going onto the Pope Road extension towards Ryan, you're on your own. So this will be very nice.
Thank you. So the plan is for the construction, if all goes well here, this spring, summer, whatever, this year.
2021 season, yeah. And,
Okay.
and just in addition to trying to be, or not being intrusive at all, I think it's worth mentioning that in a couple cases, we're actually making improvements to some areas. It's not just, a roundabout, it's we're squaring off Robinson and squaring off the entrance to the, where the trucks go in behind the plaza there, and the entrance to the housing at Salvation Army. So, and the sidewalks, of course, from you'll be able to walk from South Drive now all the way to Athena, basically, on a sidewalk. So.
Thank you. So, okay, I guess if there are no more comments, we're ready for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Carried unanimously. Well, so far you're batting 1,000, Councillor.
Yeah, three more. Resolution COS 21-003, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Corey Snow. Whereas owing to increased residential and commercial density at or near the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, Technical Services staff have advised Council that it is necessary and desirable that the City of Summerside should improve the vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection for the purpose of improving traffic flow and enhancing public safety. And whereas the lands currently held by the City of Summerside are insufficient to permit the necessary vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection. And whereas the City of Summerside has reached agreement with some, but not all, adjoining landowners respecting the purchase and sale of the lands required to build the said vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure. And whereas Section 188 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, authorizes Council to expropriate any land that it considers expedient for a public work or other public purpose. And whereas subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, requires that prior to expropriating any interest in land, Council shall pass a resolution giving notice of its intention to expropriate land. Be it resolved that pursuant to subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council for the City of Summerside give notice of its intention to expropriate lands within the City of Summerside as follows. A. General description of the lands. The lands to be expropriated are described as follows. Part of property ID 453878. All that parcel of land situate, lying, and being at lot or township number 17 in Prince County, province of Prince Edward Island, as shown and delineated on the sketch entitled Central Street and Pope Road Intersection Redesign, being attached hereto a Schedule A, containing 1,916.7 square meters of land, a little more or less, and being the southeastern portion of the said lands, also known as PID 453878, as shown on the said sketch. B. Nature of the interest intended to be expropriated. Council intends to expropriate the fee simple interest in the lands described herein, which includes all the interest in the land to which this resolution relates. C. Public purpose for which the interest is required. Council requires the lands described herein to facilitate the building of a roundabout at the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, which roundabout is necessary and desirable in the interest of public safety and improved traffic flow. D. Survey authorization. Pursuant to Section 190 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council hereby authorizes the Chief Administrative Officer or his designate to engage a land surveyor licensed under the Land Surveyors Act, RSPEI 1988, and the land surveyor and any person working under that person's authority shall be permitted to enter upon the lands described herein for the purpose of surveying the land and preparing a legal description of it. E. Resolution to expropriate. Council shall vote on a resolution at its next regularly scheduled public meeting on February 16th, 2021 on the issue of whether to expropriate the lands described herein. An F. Statement on expropriation. Should the above described resolution to expropriate receive the support of 2/3 of council members present, and after council serves on the owner a certified copy of the resolution passed, all the interest in the lands described herein shall be expropriated and become vested in the City of Summerside on the registration and filing in the office of the Register of Deeds for Prince County of the said resolution to expropriate, the survey plan, and a legal description of the said lands.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Drawn and seconded by Councillor Snow, and I think we pretty well discussed the last resolution, even though this is a different piece of property, but all the same questions. But the opportunity is here if anybody got any thoughts and or questions before we vote. I do not see. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried unanimously. You're still batting 1,000.
2 more. Might need to refill my water.
Okay.
COS 21-005, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Corey Snow. Whereas owing to increased residential and commercial density at or near the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, Technical Services staff have, okay, Norma's get me some more water. Technical services staff have advised council that it is necessary and desirable that the city of Summerside should improve the vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection for the purpose of improving traffic flow and enhancing public safety. And whereas the lands currently held by the city of Summerside are insufficient to permit the necessary vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection. And whereas the city of Summerside has reached agreement with some but not all adjoining landowners respecting the purchase and sale of the lands required to build the said vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure. And whereas Section 188 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, authorizes council to expropriate any land that it considers expedient for a public work or other public purpose. And whereas subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, requires that prior to expropriating any interest in land, council shall pass a resolution giving notice of its intention to expropriate land. Be it resolved that pursuant to subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, council for the city of Summerside give notice of its intention to expropriate lands within the city of Summerside as follows. A, general description of the lands. The lands to be expropriated are described as follows. Part of property ID 846808. Also, all that parcel of land situate, lying, and being at lot or township number 17 in Prince County, province of Prince Edward Island, as shown and delineated on the sketch entitled Central Street and Pope Road intersection redesign, and attached hereto as Schedule A, containing 180.4 square meters of land, a little more or less, and being the northern portion of the said lands, also known as PID 846808, as shown and delineated on the said sketch as PID 71092. B, nature of the interest intended to be expropriated. Council intends to expropriate the fee simple interest in the lands described herein, which includes all the interest in the land to which this resolution relates. C, public purpose for which the interest is required. Council requires the lands described herein to facilitate the building of a roundabout and related sidewalk infrastructure at the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, which infrastructure is necessary and desirable in the interest of public safety and improved traffic flow. D, survey authorization. Pursuant to Section 190 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council hereby authorizes the Chief Administrative Officer or his designate to engage a land surveyor licensed under the Land Surveyors Act, RSPEI 1988, and the land surveyor and any person working under that person's authority shall be permitted to enter upon the lands described herein for the purpose of surveying the land and preparing a legal description of it. E, resolution to expropriate. Council shall vote on a resolution at its next regularly scheduled meeting on February 16th, 2021, on the issue of whether to expropriate the lands described herein. F, statement on expropriation. Should the above described resolution to expropriate receive the support of 2/3 of council members present, and after council serves on the owner a certified copy of the resolution passed, all the interest in the lands described herein shall be expropriated and become vested in the city of Summerside on the registration and filing in the office of the Register of Deeds for Prince County of the said resolution to expropriate, the survey plan, and a legal description of the said lands.
Okay. We've been moved by Councillor Duran and seconded by Councillor Snow. The opportunity is here again. Any questions? If not, we'll call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried unanimously.
And thank you to the Deputy Mayor for that run to the kitchen. The final resolution tonight for Tech Services is COS 21-006, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Corey Snow. Whereas owing to increased residential and commercial density at or near the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, technical services staff have advised council that it is necessary and desirable that the city of Summerside should improve the vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection for the purpose of improving traffic flow and enhancing public safety. And whereas the lands currently held by the City of Summerside are insufficient to permit the necessary vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure at the said intersection. And whereas the City of Summerside has reached agreement with some but not all adjoining landowners respecting the purchase and sale of the lands required to build the said vehicular and pedestrian infrastructure. And whereas Section 188 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, authorizes council to expropriate any land that it considers expedient for a public work or other public purpose. And whereas subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, requires that prior to expropriating any interest in land, council shall pass a resolution giving notice of its intention to expropriate land. Be it resolved that pursuant to subsection 189(1) of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, council for the City of Summerside give notice of its intention to expropriate lands within the City of Summerside as follows. A. General description of the lands. The lands to be expropriated are described as follows. Part of property ID 674911. All that parcel of land situate, lying and being at lot or township number 17 in Prince County, Prince Edward Island, as shown and delineated on the sketch entitled Central Street and Pope Road intersection redesign, being attached hereto as Schedule A, containing 8.2 square meters of land, a little more or less, and being the northeastern and northwestern corners of the said lands, also known as PID 674911, as shown on the said sketch. B. Nature of the interest intended to be expropriated. Council intends to expropriate the fee simple interest in the lands described herein, which includes all the interest in the land to which this resolution relates. C. Public purpose for which the interest is required. Council requires the lands described herein to facilitate the building of a roundabout and related sidewalk infrastructure at the intersection of Central Street and Pope Road, which infrastructure is necessary and desirable in the interest of public safety and improved traffic flow. D. Survey authorization. Pursuant to Section 190 of the Municipal Government Act, RSPEI 1988, Council hereby authorizes the Chief Administrative Officer or his designate to engage a land surveyor licensed under the Land Surveyors Act, RSPEI 1988, and the land surveyor and any person working under that person's authority shall be permitted to enter upon the lands described herein for the purpose of surveying the land and preparing a legal description of it. E. Resolution to expropriate. Council shall vote on a resolution at its next regularly scheduled public meeting on February 16th, 2021, on the issue of whether to expropriate the lands described herein. And F. Statement on expropriation. Should the above described resolution to expropriate receive the support of 2/3 of council members present, and after council serves on the owner a certified copy of the resolution passed, all the interest in the lands described herein shall be expropriated and become vested in the City of Summerside on the registration and filing in the office of the Registrar of Deeds for Prince County of the said resolution to expropriate, the survey plan, and a legal description of the said lands.
Okay, again, moved by Councillor Drawn and seconded by Councillor Snow. Everybody heard the resolution? Any questions on it? No questions. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Contrary nay. Motion carried unanimously.
So I guess that's that.
That's all you have?
Yes, that's
any
everything I have.
further to
No,
add?
I just, yeah, I'll drink that water real good. I guess want to express thanks to council for being so, eager and willing to take this on, and I, just because I'm the chair of Tech Services, I certainly can't take credit for being the reason that this project is going ahead. We had a council that was willing from day one to do something about this intersection, and something's finally happening. So I'm just proud to be part of it after, was it 29 years? So that's just one of the few projects that we've been able to tackle over the last couple of years, and it's just it's exciting to be part of.
Thank you, Councillor Drawn, and you're right. When this council took office, everybody was of the agreement that something would be done at that intersection in this council. So we're moving ahead, and it looks like the work will start whenever the weather's fit. we'll see how things unfold from here.
I think, Your Honor, we should also congratulate our tech services department. Come up with a wonderful solution, whatever firm.
Yes. Thank you for that, Councillor.
And Your Worship, if I could also say, and thank you, Councillor Duran, for mentioning that about all of the councillors working on it, but I'd also want to acknowledge that many of the former councils in that 20-plus years had really tried to move it along. So I think we're just at the end result of trying to get it finished. So thank you for saying that.
I agree, and thanks to the staff as well. They've handled questions and questions and questions from us, and not only from us for our own understanding, but we've passed so many questions on from residents to staff to get the appropriate answers and numbers and facts, and they've been, you know, real good getting back to all of us. And
thank you.
It feels good, yeah.
So, do you have anything further this time, Councillor Drawn? If not, we'll continue on. Thank you. Councillor Brian McFeely, you usually got long resolutions, but you turn it over to Councillor.
It's great to see somebody else have to take those. I kind of enjoyed sitting back. And thank you, Councillor. I would like to start by certainly thanking Director Mike Tuska for his report, and it's my pleasure to present it. And again, want to, as other councillors have, welcome MLA Trish to our meeting tonight. It's always good. Last meeting we had Jamie Fox here at the committee meeting, so it's always good to have provincial folks here and to hear what our issues are, and so we welcome that. So I'm pleased to present a brief report for January on our activities for the month. With somewhat scant on details, rest assured the office has been very active on a number of files, projects, and prospects as we prepare for 2021. This, by all indications, is shaping up to be as busy, if not more than the last calendar year, and we heard some of the facts and figures in the Tech Services report on some of the activity in Summerside in 2020. So it's been a stellar year on a number of fronts. In my discussions with department officials, we are working on wrapping up some internal reports and preparing 2021 action plans on several initiatives and investment opportunities. The office within the coming months is looking to update not only council but the public as well on various projects, including but not limited to our transit review report, the release of the economic development annual report for 2020, further a pilot project of electric vehicle conversion testing, working with the Sunbank project team on finalizing the release of the RFPs for the solar farm, continue to look at next steps on the core block as well as the Granville Street North initiative, continue to servicing our immigration investors, looking for to establish in 2021, and there's a number of those. Working on several significant projects for 2021, including buildings in the business commons. Working with several investors on expansion plans for Summerside. Continuing our work on the smart landing program, and looking to formally release our strategy on the new Summerside Exchange, a truly different business accelerator. The past several weeks since the Christmas holidays have been busy with re-engaging collaborators, investors, and furthering our active files to set us up for a productive and active 2021 investment season. Summerside has always been well positioned for investment, and our economic fundamentals are some of the strongest on the island. Investors and business took significant strides in 2020 by continuing to grow our economy at a record pace, even in the COVID environment. The office continues to track its track of servicing a variety of clients, taking a deep look into investment opportunities throughout the year. And despite the challenges of 2020, Summerside is well positioned for the future. So I really want to acknowledge and thank staff. It's an office of two folks, and there's a pile of initiatives going on. So I think 2021, the emphasis will be on getting a number of these other ones over the finish line as opposed to creating a whole lot of new opportunities. But we have a number of things in the pipe that we need to continue to work on. So with that, Your Worship, that concludes my remarks, and as things begin to progress, I will always continue to update Council and the public on whether some truly exciting projects and initiatives that the department is working on in 2021. Thank you. Thank you,
Councillor McFeely, for that report. Any questions from any members of Council for your department? Yes, Councillor Ramsey.
No, I'm just getting ready for my report.
Okay.
I can't wait to get.
Okay, I do not see any question lights, so we'll continue on with the agenda. And Councillor Ramsey, you have the police and fire and emergency planning report.
Thank you. Bruce was just, Councillor McDougall was just checking his watch there. He times me. Anyway, good evening, everyone. And I'm going to do the fire service report first because we had some pretty exciting activity around the fire hall yesterday afternoon. Engine 3 has arrived. So there were many firefighters over there, pretty excited with the new truck, and I managed to get there, and they pushed the truck in to the fire hall. They got it ready to go in, and all the firefighters were backing it in. And I said, why do they do that? And so there was someone there telling the story that many years ago, when it was horse and wagon, and they had the tanks on, the wagon, they would go to a fire and they would come back, and they weren't able to, of course, the horses couldn't back the wagon into the fire station. So the firemen then would disconnect, and then they would push it in, and it was for good luck. It brought luck. So anyway, all the firemen were there yesterday to push that fire truck in backwards, and so hopefully this fire truck brings us lots of luck to our Summerside Fire Department.
I seen that video yesterday, and I was thinking, God, I hope it's not another street sweeper.
No, it's not a street sweeper. And I was pushing it. Someone said, "Why were you pushing?" And I said, "Because if I wouldn't have been there to help, it wouldn't have went in." Anyway, it was a great day for the fire department, and so I'm going to go ahead with December's report. There were 24 calls for assistance during the month of December, and there was follows. There was medical first responder call, just one this month, which is down because last month they usually have quite a few of those. There were 15 alarm panel calls, 1 dumpster fire, 2 structure fires, 3 miscellaneous calls, 1 carbon monoxide call, and 1 cancel call. Training with the added burden of COVID-19 restrictions proved to be very challenging, so firefighters have been hitting the books during December working on the theory of firefighting. Members are given training hours to read and study the newly developed operating guidelines. Long-serving firefighter Rick Morrison announced that effective January 4th that he would be retiring from the fire service, and Rick did do that this month, and we congratulate him on his retirement.
35 years.
Yeah, 40 years. 40? Yeah, 2/3 of his entire life, Basil. 40. That's what it has written here, so I guess he's 60, if that's 2/3. Thank you for your service, Rick, and we hope to see you around for sure. We know you're going to keep busy. Chief Enman would also like to officially welcome our newest members, Paul Daniels, Neil Ramsey, and Jonathan Myers. All 3 were immediately filled roles because of previous training with other fire departments, so welcome aboard, gentlemen. So they had lots of experience, so they just went right into the role. So that concludes my fire report for December. Any questions? No? Okay. So I'm going to move into December's report for police services. So face-to-face meetings continue to increase during December while self-isolating or self-distancing and remaining vigilant of the rules surrounding the pandemic protocols. Although this may change again in January depending on the rules from CPHO. It didn't seem to change much, did it? We're in January, and several meetings took place during November, including mobile crisis team, bridge meetings every Tuesday and Thursday to deal with the people at risk. Summerside Police Services staff continue to have conference calls bi-weekly with PEI law enforcement members and staff from public health. During December, Summerside Police Services members did several checks of persons who are self-isolating to make sure they were following the rules. During December, members took part in the annual recertifications for use of force and taser training, which were instructed by 2 Summerside Police Service members. Also, members took training as it relates to situational awareness and privacy training. One member did 2 presentations on internet safety to two grade 6 classes at the local elementary level. And now I'm going to read some of the statistics for December 2020, but also for the year of 2020. So calls for service for the month of December were 508, but the total for the whole year were 6,993. Traffic accidents for December were 24. The total traffic accidents for the year were 264. Reported crimes of assaults and threats were 15 for the month of December and 253 for the year. Theft reports, 24, 317 for the year. Impaired driving for December were 2 and a total of 78 for the year. Highway traffic acts charges were 84 for December and 1,216 for the year, including 346 speeding tickets over the year. Break-in enter reports, business and residential, were 2 for the month of December and 88 for the year. And drug enforcement charges were 3 for December, but 123 for the year, plus 63 charges by the Joint Forces Operation, so RCMP and Summerside Police. So you know what, thanks everyone from Police Services for all your hard work. It looks like you've been very busy, and City of Summerside certainly appreciates that. So that's my report for December, and if you have any questions.
Did our chief win an award of some sort?
That was last, a couple of years ago.
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago, but it was reposted that he got it, but he got his Exceptional Service Award 2 or 3 years ago.
It was
but
before,
yeah.
before our council.
Yeah, he's the Police Officer of the Year or for the island or whatever it was.
Yeah, 3 years ago, yeah. Yep. So.
Just, I don't know who, just a quick comment. I noticed impaired driving only 2 in December, so I think in my 6 years on council, that's the lowest that I've seen in a month, and particularly with the Christmas season, I think that's great.
Right. You wonder if COVID has anything to do with people just staying closer to home, or, you know.
It's just a positive sign. If that's a trend, well, we'll see. If it's a
I
trend,
know
it's just a
it
good,
is.
It's a good thing. So,
It's a good thing, and yeah.
Even though 2 is still too many.
Yeah, 2 is too many, and yeah, thank you, Councillor McFeely.
And just to build on what Councillor McFeely was just saying, I'm wondering, Councillor Ramsey, if we could ask your committee to bring back numbers from previous years, if they have them on record, to see how it relates. So, for example, calls for service or calls for service going up compared to last year, the year before, just to know how we're doing for resources and things. So
Good information for budget, hey?
Yeah, it'd be important to, I guess, look at those numbers as we move forward.
Thank you, Councillor Snow. We'll do that.
That's likely
I don't know CAO. Thank you. Thank you.
And one of the things, Councillor Barb, concerning the discussions that are going on with your committee on the upgrades or the renovations to the fire hall, I know there's been quite a lot of meetings going on, but I know we had one on Friday, a full day.
Full day.
And just so people have an idea of the level of work that's going on, maybe if you could just give a little update on that, just at some point in time.
Sure, I can speak a little bit on that this evening. We did meet the other day with the needs of the fire department, and now we have a firm that's looking at exactly what they need and what amount of space we need. And it's funny because there was some comments on social media today. People don't have any idea the amount of time that's put into this. And so thank you for bringing that up, because we are working diligently towards that. And we'll just continue to move ahead. So we'll wait for these reports to come back, CAO, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
And I'll just echo on your comment when you saw something today, somebody making comments about the work or whatever. I remember when I first ran for council, a few people said, "Oh, there's nothing to it, just a couple of meetings a month, fine." And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work, as I'm sure people would be aware of.
There sure is. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So that's my report, my two reports, if that's it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you.
When we get to the end of the meeting, if anybody got anything further they want to bring up, the opportunity will be there before we adjourn. And we'll continue on with the agenda. And I believe Councillor Corey Snow, you're up next with the Community Services report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to start by thanking Director of Community Services, JP DeRoger, who compiled the report. The 2020 edition of December was a little different than previous years, but it's certainly a fun and entertaining one. The month kicked off with plenty of public skates at Credit Union Place, many of which were fully booked, especially on weekends. While Credit Union Place was seeing an increase in the users due to the cooler temperatures outside, the facility temporarily closed on December 7th in response to the guidance given from the Chief Public Health Office regarding the ongoing pandemic. Staff continued to work and prepare for the holiday season and took the lead on Santa's Summerside Tour, which turned out to be a highlight from the month of December. Over the span of 2 evenings, Santa toured the city, various neighborhoods, wishing residents a Merry Christmas. Little be known, he was followed by the Grinch. During a difficult time for many due to the COVID-19, Santa touring Summerside was a unique way to bring a positive vibe to the city and get children excited for Christmas. Reopening on December 18th, the facility welcomed back minor sports organizations and users alike. With new COVID-19 restrictions in place, including no spectators, staff found a creative way to have parents and guardians tune in remotely with live streams from Eastlink Arena. The province of PEI approached the city with funding to do a Shop Local campaign during the holiday season. The For Love of Summerside campaign was then launched, which invited local businesses and restaurants to name their #1 holiday gift idea. In return, a $250 gift card was purchased from each business and restaurant who submitted. From there, anyone who shopped at one of the local participants received a ballot for a change to win a $250 gift card. The response was overwhelming and great to see so many people shopping local during the holiday season. Staff continued to prepare for the active winter and to get programming in place for when winter weather arrives. This year, Active Winter will feature plenty of programming, including the always popular fat biking, snowshoeing, monster snow hills races, indoor and outdoor public skates, along with some new programming such as wagon rides, spike ball, and squash. Overall, there's more than 30 days of scheduled programming and come try events. Registration for the winter edition of swimming lessons opened towards the end of the month, which filled up immediately. Lessons are underway in January. With COVID-19 restrictions in place, staff continue to take guidance from the CPHO and make adjustments to the restrictions when in place when needed and possible. That is my report, Your Worship. One last thing, maybe before there's some questions, if there is any. I want to acknowledge parents of youth in our community that are out taking kids to hockey rinks and taking them wherever. I have a son that curls, and when you have to take your son somewhere as your daughter and have to sit out in the car and while they go in to play, it's not an easy thing to do, but we're very fortunate in PEI to be able to do any of the activities that we're doing. So just a huge thank you to them. And then in turn, the coaches and stuff that are responsible for those kids when parents have been dropping them off. Fortunately, the restrictions have lessened a little bit, and we're able to get some spectators in, which is great, but I think that stuff goes unnoticed, and it's very important to keep things moving. So.
Thank you, Councillor Snow. Any questions?
Just not necessarily a question, but a comment. I want to pass thanks along to Trent and his team for the great work they do down on the boardwalk. I have a walker
Must
down
be
there.
at 6 o'clock in the morning, eh?
No, it's 7 now.
Oh, 7.
But anyway, there was a couple of trees that were leaning pretty bad, and with the wind coming up over the past weekend, I gave them a call, and they were down there, cleaned that all up within, that same day. But also, we may have to put a course on to teach people how to pick up after their dogs. It's sad that that happens, but so just a reminder to everyone to please pick up after your dog. That's a great asset that we have down there. We have many people using it, and we'd like for the people with their dogs to continue using it too. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. And I guess it's important to note, we've received those complaints about dogs and owners not picking up after themselves, and our department has put new signs up. We've done a lot of things to try to be proactive, but again, it comes down to people being responsible pet owners, and it's a great resource, but when people have to pick up after other people or walk over it, it's not nice. So hopefully people sort of get the message. Every once in a while we seem to be talking about it, but it's important to note. Thank you.
It is a great walk. I did my my boardwalk yesterday, but I usually do the inside now at the cup, but it was a good fresh air walk, but not at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, it's good for you. It wakes you up.
But speaking of dogs, I didn't mention it under correspondence, but I got one complaint, I guess, wondering about their neighbor and their 20 dogs in the backyard. So anyway, that's been looked at by staff. I guess they're making quite a noise when they get going.
Yeah, you know what, Worship, I really think, and it sort of should fall when Councillor Adams gets up and does her report, but I think we need to look at our bylaw as it relates to dogs in our community and what we're doing, if there's any changes that can be made to help, strengthen some of the things that are going on, because we've received quite a bit of complaints about several different issues over the years, so just to make sure we're doing everything we can to be responsible.
I got one the other day too about dogs on a leash. I
Right.
know the signs are there, but one leash apparently was 50 or 75 feet long, and the dog just took right off after somebody, even though it was on a leash. So
no, it's
can't win
definitely
sometimes.
it's definitely a concern, right? So it's something as a city we need to make sure we're doing everything we can to look into.
And I think in a number of places too, Councillor Corey, that we're very fortunate here that there is that freedom to be able to walk pets on leashes and things like that, but we also have to remember, and I have heard from residents, that they can see people, just they look around, and if they don't see anybody, they won't clean it up. And also, I mean, that affects the 80%, 90% people that really follow the rules. And it makes it really hard. And also there are some people that are very scared of dogs, so, or at least, a bit fearful. So I think we're more than fair as a city.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Councillor
Councillor
Wheeler.
McPhail.
Again, a quick comment, and I think the dog population continues to grow and grow and grow too, so that's probably lending to the issue as well. But just a comment on sort of winter activity and the opportunities in the city, and certainly the boardwalk's a tremendous opportunity, but in recent days I walked through Heather Moyes Park, and what a fabulous facility there, and had the grandson up the other day sleighing up in the Rotary Park there, and just phenomenal and tremendous use. And then Saturday night was up around the Oval, and kids playing there in the slide there, and the opportunities in the city are just phenomenal, and just encourage people to embrace winter and get out and enjoy it, because there is some great things to do.
And for the majority of those activities, they're free activities, right? That's important to note. There's some snowshoe rentals where you have to give a down payment or whatever you want to call it, but you get it back. So I am really impressed with the amount of opportunities our community has to get out and get active if you really want to, and that's great. And it's something we want to continue doing. So let's get out and utilize it as best we can.
I do have to tell you don't recover from the sleighing like you used to when you were a kid.
And one thing, Corey, maybe our Councillor Corey, to mention is the Active Summerside Facebook page. That's really good too. Usually the credit union place shares it, but that's a good one if nobody's on that to keep on top of what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Any further
Worship.
questions? You have any further comments? Is that everything? Okay. We'll continue on with the agenda here. Councillor Adams, you have a number of reports, HR, legal, and culture, policy review.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll start with our Human Resource Legal Affairs. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, as well as department subcommittees, continue to meet on a regular monthly basis. The department provides support at various meetings monthly. Contract negotiations are currently underway with the police, outside workers, and electrical unions. As well, competitions are underway for a temporary electrical technician and an aquatics manager. We are welcoming Rebecca Covio, I'm hoping I pronounce that right, who has joined us as a temporary customer service representative. Councillor Bruce and I had met her when she was on her tour, her first day here, so I don't think he scared her off. She's still here. WHMIS training will be held for staff this month, and the city has registered with the Go PEI Active Workplace Challenge. This aids and supports staff to be active and healthy. And that's it for Human Resource. Anybody have any questions? I'll keep going into Culture Summerside. The following report captures some highlights of Culture Summerside's activity from mid-December to mid-January time period. Wyatt Heritage Properties and Culture Summerside presented the magic of Christmas at Wyatt Heritage Properties. The program celebrated the history of the long-standing tradition of the Christmas tree, which is one of the most embraced traditions of Christmas. Hundreds of school-aged children with teachers and chaperones attended the Christmas program during the first 2 full weeks of January. So, little opposite this year. Instead of before their Christmas break, they went afterwards. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, classes participated were allocated to their own time slot, so they were still within their cohorts that they spend their day with. This program originally scheduled for before Christmas. The circuit breaker restrictions came into place, and it filled up quickly despite the new January schedule, which was nice. I think the good weather too helped, like when classes wanted to get out. The public enjoyed the magic of the trees and the house during the magic of Christmas on January 13th and 14th. So fingers crossed for 2021. Deadlines are being met in the area of grant writing, proposals, and reports are being submitted to the government organizations pertaining to past programming and proposed programming for summer, fall, and winter. And lastly, Culture Summerside staff are preparing for Heritage Week activities, and there'll be more on that. And also, Culture Summerside is very good on social media to advertise what's coming up. So if you're ever wondering, it's always good to check on there what's going on. If there's any questions on that?
Not any questions, but I know the lighting that they had at Culture Summerside for the program, it was beautiful. And I know we talked about it. A lot of people in the community saw it. It just really created a lot of buzz what was going on. So it was really nice.
And like in the fall too, a photographer had something on about looking for a porch that was, to decorate and so on. And I just said, you should check with Culture Summerside. They might be, and sure enough, they were going to decorate anyway. So it ended up being a place that people could take photos. So it never hurts to ask. So and they're always up for new ideas. I'll go into Bylaw Policy Review Committee. Residents may recall that City Council approved proposed changes to the taxi bylaw at last month's council meeting. However, shortly after the adoption of these changes, the province announced that it would be permanently relaxing some of its regulations regarding the delivery of alcohol by various establishments. And just so the public is aware, we did ask before about this, and the province said it was in the act that it was prohibited, so that's why we went ahead with it. Things have since changed, so we will review these changes approved by the province to determine whether the bylaw needs to be amended in order to be consistent with provincial practice. The committee's work also continues on other fronts. We are reviewing the unsightly premises bylaw to determine whether changes are required to the enforcement provisions contained within the bylaw. Of note as well is that the city is reviewing applications from residents who would like to serve on the city's new seniors committee. We expect to announce the members of this committee shortly. Finally, back in the fall, residents may recall that council issued a public statement of action in response to concerns regarding the payment of outstanding utility accounts and the public disclosure of this information. Council had directed that changes be considered for the city's code of conduct and the utility collection policy, and to develop a communications protocol around the disclosure of outstanding electric accounts. This is nearing completion, and we expect to present the results of this work in the very near future. This concludes the report for the month of January. Any questions?
Thank you. Just in regards to the province, they did change it, or they're thinking about it? And if they did, how quickly can we do it to match the province? Because if we're changing the bylaw, we have to go through readings and those kinds of things. So if it's the law now in the province, we should move quickly to get ours to match the provincial law.
You remember, Your Worship, whenever we had the taxi drivers in here, they had brought it to our attention that they would like to do it as other provinces did. Deputy CAO and CAO had approached the province, I believe it was through the liquor inspector, and they said that it was a provincial liquor in the Liquor Act, so we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go against what the province was doing.
Right.
So we just sort of kept things as is and moved on from there. But lo and behold, a few weeks after it's done, then the provincial law changed. So now we have to go back, but
Should be a quick amendment.
but the thing is that I know the taxi drivers were very, very accommodating. I found them a good group to work with. So that will be a part that will be easier. Do you know what I mean? The relationship is built. Yeah. Some wanted it. So Rob, Rob, did you have anything to?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just the only other point that I want to raise is that in view of the changes that have taken place at the provincial level with the legislation, BPR committee will bring back some recommendations very soon around just making sure that we're in sync with provincial legislation. So we expect that will be very soon.
Could that be done just with one resolution versus going through the whole bylaw change?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think if it is the provincial law now, we should, for the good of the taxi drivers and people who may call the taxi to have that delivery, we can get it done. Is it possible by our next monthly meeting or special meeting or something, if that's the case? Anyway, thank you, Councillor Adams, for that, and go, Councillor, some lights on you.
I was trying to just let you know.
Yeah.
I wonder if Councillor Carey or CAO Rob, with the provincial changes to their allowance, is there any way that we could get the wording of what they had in their writing on making those changes? Because I know, as you said, we acted upon what we were told, and it would be good to know what the wording is in the document. Thank you.
The drivers were very, they're aware that the change has been made since, so, yeah, that's good.
Just on that, I think one of the requirements, I knew this was coming tonight, but I think one of the requirements are that the taxi drivers need to have the responsible servers certificate or license or however that is. So it sounds like the province had put in some of those safeguards that we have talked about when we were going over the policies.
Thank you, Saka. Can I just make a comment, Councillor Adams, in regards to your committee there? Usually in February of a year, this went on for years and years, the Mayor's Heritage Tea. We had it last year, but we got in under the wire before everything got cancelled in March. It's always in February. So we talked the other day, the CEO and myself, and it's going to have to be on a much smaller scale this year because of the circumstances. And I'm not sure the date is a date usually in February, but And last year, we missed the long service awards for all of the employees. They give a long service award and every 5, 10, 15, 20, right up to 40 years, every 5 years. And they were missed last year because of the COVID. So we're going to try and do that as part of the Heritage Tea. So, if we have it, it will have to be by invitation. And depending on the number of people, and if we're looking for a bigger room, we could always have it at the Credit Union Place to try to accommodate as many people as possible. But last year's long service awards for the city, and then there were another half a dozen or so added this year that are hitting the even mark. So that'll be sorted out in the next few days, but we may try to hold it at the CUP, depending on the numbers that will be allowed.
Mayor Basil, I just want to point out too, I know that that is something that's very important to you, as well as council, with regards to the committee for HR personnel and the recognition. And I know we've talked about it, and there has been times in the past where over a barbecue, staff have been given the acknowledgement, but I know that you feel a bit strongly on that staff members that have been in the city for many years, the recognition and whatnot is something that we feel as mayor and council, how important it is that they are acknowledged in a formal way.
Thank you. Yes, and this year too, with the city's anniversary on April 1st, the city's birthday. Last year it had to be cancelled, and there was a special part of that ceremony for Mayor Francis, the late Mayor Francis Perry. That'll be, so that's sort of up in the air right now. We'll sort of see what happens in the next couple of months on that. But yes, we've got to recognize some of the employees. I know one of them coming up for this one is 40 years. Sinclair Walker has 40 years in, and I think the chief got 43 or 4, but these are for the even numbers. And a number, as mentioned, Rick Morrison is one this year, and probably 10 or 12 of them. So that may be part of the Heritage Tea, an opportunity to get caught up from last year, and those kinds of things. So anyway, I think we've, Councillor Adams.
No, Your Worship, I was just going to say that I personally, being on both committees, I don't want to speak for my vice chairs or anybody on the committee. I see no reason with having them separate as well. I think that the Heritage Tea in itself is very well attended, so I wouldn't want people to feel they couldn't attend. And also, the Long Service Awards, they're just that, and they deserve to be recognized with their families, and maybe having 2 events would be better. I'm not sure. It'd depend on the numbers, but I think they're different in their own ways, and they might be better off recognized separately.
I tend to agree with you, and we'll have to see how many will be allowed. We'll work through the Department of Health on that. Anyway, thank you for your report, and I believe, no, we've still got a couple more committees, right? You're not getting away that easy, Councillor.
Yeah.
Councillor McDougall, did you have anything to do with the report on the street sweeper? No, that's not tonight.
Oh, I could probably give you a couple. It's broke.
Floor's yours, sir.
Anyway, I have a report here from Director Greg Goody. The sewage treatment plant is back in compliance as of January 6, 2001. There was a bit of a glitch in the system in late December, and where staff noticed the counts were going high, and so they had to adjust things. But we also had also notified the PEI Department of Environment and our federal officials. Once we noticed it, everything has been brought back into the safe zone, and we've got the all clear now. So thank you to staff for noticing that, and so everything seems to be back to normal. The treatment plant performed the following maintenance this month. The biosolids dryer and had replacements of burniture and temperature control module replaced. Replaced a failed flow switch in the pump. The sludge dewatering pumps were rebuilt with new stator UV lights, replaced and cleaned. Water line reconstructions are complete for the year, and all items have been tested and commissioned. Public Works have cleared several catch basins this month. Street signs are being repaired as identified for missing or damaged, and if the public has any information regarding missing or damaged street signage, please let the city know at 902-432-1268. Glen Drive has new speeding signs installed. That speed zone is down from 50 to 40 kilometers per hour now. The following snow removal efforts were completed from December 14th to January 11th. Plowing roads 5 times, parking lot 5 times, downtown cleanup 3 times, sidewalk and salting, street salting was 11 times, sidewalk salting 10, and parking lot plowing is 5 times. Public are reminded that during the winter season, it's helpful to keep in mind that vehicles out on the roadway clearing during the efforts of clearing overnight, I should say. And the winter parking ban is in effect. Just a few stats, I won't bore you with a lot of these, but there was 29 water samples taken, clear of bacteria. 3 of them had to be retested, but come back okay upon retesting. 12 chlorination samples taken, and all within parameters. 2 water mains were repaired for the month on West Drive and Central Street. And there was 70,669 gallons of septic received to the plant from outlying areas, as we service Prince County. 275 tons of biofertilizer were created this month at the treatment facility. And that is my report. And just as an update on the street sweeper, it is back to where it came from, and we're in discussions with them on where we go next. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, a question, Councillor Ramsey?
Well, I just have a quick question, and I know that the time of year is probably not great on this, but Bruce, I've noticed some of the stop signs, posts, and they're really in bad shape. They're rusty, and they're leaning forward or they're leaning backwards, and and I just wondered, and this time of the year with it freezing, and I know we may not be able to do a lot on that, but I'm just hoping that maybe sometime in the spring that maybe we could sort of address those things. Like, I just notice them when I'm out walking, and
If you can identify those where they are.
I've got a few.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Just let us
But I know the time of year. But anyway, I'm just kind of.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Adams?
Just a couple things, Your Worship. I just wanted to thank Municipal Services. One of the subdivisions in my area, we were having a small issue with the snow removal. It was a new contractor. Municipal Services had explained it to the contractor. They didn't quite understand as they were new to the area. So Municipal Services actually went and got the contractor and took them out for a drive and showed them where the issue was. And next little snowfall, I got a message that all was well. So
That's great.
it was very much appreciated to go just that extra. I guess they figure if they took them out, then they wouldn't hear from me. So that was all good too.
We aim to please.
Yes. And also, as always, my area sort of goes provincially run roads with the city roads. So huge shout out to Mike Berrigan and his staff, because Mike's always great to just, somebody asks me something and it's before the creek, they say, then Mike's always great to get anything fixed up that might have been missed. So.
Great. I do not see any other question lights on, so thank you, Councillor Adams, for that report. Councillor Greg Campbell, the floor is yours, sir, for the electrical report. How are the windmills doing?
The best to the last. Report put up by Mr. Goody. I haven't had a chance to speak with him about the report. Maybe Bruce can spread some light on me. 13 street lights on Mackenzie Drive has been repaired. I seem to have a lot of light repairs for down that area.
Those were out for quite a while, and they had to order those, and I know that it's been a long time being fixed, but it was supply.
It wasn't for vandalism or anything?
No.
Okay. Great, thank you. Traffic loop to Granville and Water Street has been repaired. The electric meter changes have been completed for 2020. Repairs to the boardwalk and the street lighting were conducted this month. It's ongoing. 6 units installed for the Heat for Less program. New lighting was installed at the oval ice skating track around the ball fields. New street lighting was installed at the lower end of Putter's Lane. That development is coming along really well. A bird nesting pole was relocated in Putter's Lane. Russell Street apartment service has been completed. Christmas lighting has been removed from the city. I think our staff done a wonderful job this year, and it was so important with the pandemic too to have some signs of Christmas and joy. Summerside Sunbank land clearing, it was approximately 45% of the work is completed now. I'm really tickled with that development and using a local company from Tyne Valley to do it. It's great. 51.9% of our electricity came from wind in December. 2020 had the most wind production from the wind farm in the 10 years of operation, so keep blowing. Generator run hours are 8.3, 6 new electric customers energized this month, 11 electrical service upgrades, 8 customer outage events for the month, 8 new poles were installed and 12 removed, 3 transformers were replaced. And Your Worship, that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell, and I know it'll be discussed later on, but the city electrical rates, Council didn't have an opportunity yet to make a decision, but I understand that discussion will be taking place over the next few weeks, whether we follow Maritime Electric or not. So over the next period of time, I understand information is being gathered for Council to consider, and as of January 1st, I understand we're still on the lower city rates. They weren't increased to what Maritime Electric did. What was it, 9.5%? No, 3. Sorry, 3.9. 3.9%. That's when you wear trifocals. But 3.9%, there's Maritime customers increased on January 1st, but ours are still on the lower rate. So sometime over the next period of time, I don't know whether it'll be a month or so, but whatever, Council will be discussing it and making a decision on that. So you'll be in on the discussions, that's for sure, as chair.
Yep.
Any question? Councillor Snow, you have a question?
Not a question, just a comment. When the Sunbank land clearing, I think it's important to note that land that's being cleared, any of the hectares of trees is going to be replanted. I think that's a very good initiative moving forward with that type of project going on. Obviously, solar is a green initiative, so if you're cleaning out a bunch of trees, it sort of goes against the premise. But we've committed as a city and the project to replanting all those trees, which is a very important point.
Yes, thank you. Councillor McDougall?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back on your comment on the Maritime Electric increase. We haven't made any decisions yet, but I just wanted to let the 600 customers that are within the city limits on Maritime Electric, that if the city of Summerside does not follow, that there should be a rebate of 3.9% for the Maritime Electric customers within the city boundaries. So that's just what the way I feel, and it's been an issue for a long time, and that's the reason that we have been following the Maritime Electric rate, because those customers are in the city. And anyway, so those discussions are going to be held another day, but I just wanted to point that out about the 600 customers that were in city boundaries.
So the 600 within, and what's on the other side of it? 100?
I'm not sure.
113. We have 113 people not in the city that are serviced by our utility.
I think with one of our local MLAs sitting right here, it's important that maybe she listens to what we're saying and how important it would be to have those customers that are the 600 within our limits to be on our utility, because it's rightful for that to happen. They deserve to benefit from our utility, and we deserve benefit from having them as customers. So hopefully she can bring that back to her colleagues and further the discussion as best we can.
And not only that, if I could just add to your comments, Councillor Corey, when we have 600 and then another 100 and some residents, I think when there's any discussions of increase that takes place, the city is really put in that situation where we're caught in the middle of a situation and having to make decisions on it. Really, you know, as we had a great deal of conversation and did a resolution tonight to borrow on some of our capital projects, the city has to, you know, to cover its bills and projects. But when we're faced with those kinds of decisions, and it's a decision that comes from another body, it really makes it difficult for us. So I think it puts us at a situation with our residents. We're trying to be very fair and open-minded, but sometimes we're put in the middle of a very difficult situation, and I would really appreciate that our province would really consider that in our municipality, that they could be under the one situation of the municipality.
I believe Councillor Adams had a comment.
Yeah, Your Worship, I know that residents in Ward 8, Perry Subdivision, portion of Reed Drive, and Blue Shank Road have, that are all in Ward 8, have reached out. Several have reached out, and I am in support of, if it should happen, that there was an increase in the city, or wasn't an increase in the city, and Maritime Electric customers are, something has to be done for them, because it's of no fault of their own that they are not benefiting from our utility and our programs such as Heat for Less and so on. So,
thank you. Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Your Worship, and just to echo what Councillor McDougall and Councillor Adams are saying, I too have residents that are, you know, on both utilities, and I also support, you know, whether it's a rebate or whatever. There's Slemon Park is the major one. They're within city limits, but they're on Maritime Electric, and lots of talks to be had together around this room. But I also support, if it comes to it, some sort of rebate, because it has to be fair for everyone. So.
Thank you. 3.9%, in my opinion, the maritime rate. Pardon? 3.9? 3.9. That's just a nice way of saying 4%. You know. Anyway, we've gotten to the end of the agenda. If there are no more questions, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor McDougall. All in favour, say aye.